Alright, well, hello there, YouTube. It is I, Scourge13, and my co-op Rust buddy, Shadowfang22,
Hello.
and we are playing Rust. I have several substantial hours in the game, but Shadowfang is brand new, and I thought with all the new updates Rust was doing that it was high time for a
Um,
new tutorial video. What's going on, Shadow?
I have a bear situation.
Ah, I see. And I thought
Uh,
we'd start out our tutorial video by attacking a bear. No, actually, we should probably start by finding each other. Um, Now, of course, the first thing you do, Shadow, right, is find the nearest tree and whack it
yep.
with your rock.
Get that spear going.
And there is a technique to doing this, everybody. You have to... Rust is a very competitive multiplayer game. What I like to do is slowly move around the tree as I hit it. I try to fall into a rhythm with how often he beats the tree. I'm also counting in my head, and my counting is way off. I try to count in my head up to 30 times, 30 whacks. That gives me 300 wood that I can use to start crafting that a wooden spear. And you want to craft that spear as soon as you can because it takes 2 minutes to craft, but it is also your only real weapon that you start
Yeah.
with. Now that tree disappeared, and I only have 75 wood. To get the other two tools that you'll need, the stone axe and the stone pickaxe, you would need 450 wood. So I try to count in my head again until I have, 45 whacks with this rock, until I have the necessary amount of wood on me. It will probably not. It won't even take that long. Um,
That was crazy lag spike there for a second.
yeah, crazy lag spikes are just part of everyday living in Rust. All right.
I think I got lucky with my spawn though. I see some barrels.
Well, there's a horse here that's actually traipsing around the beach, and I've never seen a horse on the beach before.
Only on television commercials. Do you
That's
ever
right.
see.
Okay, so once again, it took us about a minute to get the requisite wood. Now that once we have the wood, we can move off the coast. Now, it is still important to do that little going around the tree technique on the coast, because if this server were really busy right now, someone could have spawned in on the coast and then started beating me with the rock to steal my wood. Again, Rust is one of those games where PvP is the main attraction, and if you can steal 20 wood from somebody by bashing them in the back of the head with a rock, players are liable to do it. You really shouldn't trust anybody on the server unless there's a bear over there, speaking of. Unless you know them. Okay. So now I'm looking for shiny, round boulders. And while we're doing that, let's see if Shadow and I can find each other. So what are your surroundings like, Shadow?
I'm kind of in the middle of a small sand area surrounded by trees.
Okay, so it sounds like he might be in the southern part of the map. Now, I found a boulder here right off, so it's time to continue the tutorial by whacking on the boulder a little bit. Now, usually what I like to do with these is I kneel, and I do the same technique that I do with the tree. We just kind of whack it. Now, the boulder will give us way more stone than we need, but we do want to pay attention to our crafting. I just noticed that this was done. I was not paying attention. So we put the spear in a prominent location on the toolbar. I always pick it on number 3, just so I know that 3 is my melee weapon, and I keep that consistent no matter how far advanced the game I'm playing. I hit 3 to pull out a melee weapon.
So
Now,
I'm kind of cheating the system here and breaking some of these barrels that I've been finding.
yes, and that's a good point. I haven't found any barrels, but running around and finding barrels is important.
Sometimes. I guess it just depends on whether or not that's what you want to do.
Yep.
But I got lucky and I got a salvage pickaxe out of it.
Nice. Now that's going to give you a lot more stones per whack than this stupid rock.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to keep whacking on this boulder until it's all the way gone. You can see why it's important to crouch, because you can't hit this. You can't hit this little nub here, and there's still several hundred more stones worth of items in here. So you want to crouch, and again, you're checking your surroundings. This does make a substantial amount of noise. People can hear the same sound effects that you do, and the server does propagate sound. Okay, so We got our stones, and I didn't say anything at the time because Shadow was talking, but I started crafting a stone hatchet. I'll queue up a stone pickaxe, and away we go. Oh, speak of barrels. Here we go. Now, as a newbie, on a fresh server especially, hitting barrels is something that you need to do very frequently. A lot of people that watch Rust videos, they watch players that are at a fairly advanced stage of development, and they don't usually whack barrels because they don't need the juicy contents within. But you see, this barrel is actually pretty good. It gave us a bone fragment, which really isn't used yet, so I'm going to toss that out of my inventory. But it gave us some burlap shoes. Now that's worth like 1 deer worth of cloth. So we don't have to kill one deer in order to get shoes. So that was very much of a benefit. Now, Shadow says that he was in a sandy area, and I can see on the horizon here that there's snow-capped mountains over there. So
I am running at the snow-capped mountain actually right now.
Okay.
I'm actually pretty close. I'm like at the base of it. That's where I spawned.
Okay. I was thinking I should run south because this is the snow biome, not a snow-capped mountain. It's a whole biome, and you can tell it's a biome as opposed from a mountain because it has trees growing on it. So I still think I'm still way north because the maps that generate, even though they're random, have this very much a north is Arctic, south is sandy type dichotomy going on. So if he's around a sandy, deserty biome, I should be going south. Generally, it looks like the maps that Rust generates are like in the northern hemisphere. So to run south, you want to put the rising sun almost at your back because it's not going to be due east or due west. It's not rising or setting due east or due west. So I'm heading in a southerly direction. Again, he has no idea if he's going to be east or west from me. We just have a speculation that he's probably south. So we're going to head in a general south direction. I did chase that horse a little bit, but I can't get it.
Yeah, and I might be on opposite side of the snow-capped mountain because the sun is, if I'm looking at the snow-capped mountain, the sun is just to the right of it.
All right, now these boar here, they run slower than players generally, so I'm going to try to stab it with my spear. And this is kind of the frustrating parts of Rust. Unless you find like a bow and arrow or a gun inside one of those loot barrels that you saw me pop open earlier, the way you're going to get your first ranged weapon is, you've got to be kidding me.
Found a building.
No, he ran right into a cave, right into a solid rock. Okay, now I'm checking my tools. Now that I have my axe, I'm going to ditch my rock. All right, I'm going to go ahead and chop this guy up with the stone hatchet. You get more materials per chop with the stone hatchet than you do with the rock. So that's, once you get a stone hatchet, you can just throw your rock away. Stone pickaxe is done. I don't need the torch anymore. Now we have 12 cloth. We don't have any first aid items, so we click on the syringe, and I like to use my first 4 cloth to craft a bandage. In case we run afoul of a wolf or a bear and we start bleeding. Now I generally like to run with my weapon out, because again, PvP, very intense PvP game, Rust is. And Rad Town right there.
You're next to a rad town?
Yes.
I found a random barn.
Yes.
And there's still radiation,
I
apparently.
think they're going to add more to that particular Rad Town setting. Now I did try to sneak up on this horse here. Now, the AI is sometimes very poor, and the horse will run right into you like that, and I got a whack in. And the more you damage the animals, I notice the slower they run. So he's not running as fast. I'm going to go ahead and try to chase him down here. Because I see in the distance something that will hopefully allow me another point worth explaining to you all out there for you really new players. And that's the road system, the infrastructure system. You see that this horse is stopped here next to a series of power lines. And there's actually a road, a gravel road, next to those. See, he's running slower. Oh, still running a little bit faster than me, though. There we go, we got him. Now this is going to be enough cloth that we can probably craft the next article of clothing. Now there's kind of a calculus you have to do about how you use your cloth. I'm actually, I did say I was going to craft clothing, but I've changed my mind, as I often do in Rust. I have 40 pieces of cloth. and you need 50 to get a bow and arrow. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get that last bit of cloth. Now you see there's resources all around me. What a lot of new players will do is they'll be like, I need to chop trees, I need to hack at boulders. What you'll do is you'll create a very rich naked player that can't defend himself, and you'll lose all that work you just did. So I don't even bother collecting things that are not in barrels. I always go collect barrels because you never know when you might find a weapon or a blueprint for a weapon, and that leaves you, more able to defend yourself. And speaking of the devil, I saw a spear pop out of there. With the new... and a map. Oh my goodness, this was a good barrel.
Oh, how lucky you.
It's a blueprint though, so I'd have to craft it. I'm going to ditch the bone fragments. They do nothing but clog up your inventory. Now this is the frustrating thing that they've added in the new version of Rust, is you can't turn off the grass, but I was able to pick up the stone spear, and it is a blueprint. However, I can go ahead and craft that stone spear. I just happen to have the resources on me. It does require a wooden spear, so I get a weapon upgrade basically right away. It did take that spear away, so now I have no weapon except for my stone hatchet.
I think I am actually fairly close to where the original base was. Had a long...
Oh, well, this is a new map. And speaking of new maps, I found a cave.
Oh, nice.
It's right next to this rad town. So guys out there in YouTube tutorial land, this is what a cave looks like. And this is a really good base because you're surrounded on 3 sides with a wall that's basically, you can't blow it up. All the people can do is try to blow up the front to access your stuff. And of course you would have your stuff stashed away in the cave. I'm not sure if we'll build a base in there because I wanted to make this a very basic tutorial, but that is a good find. If we had a map on ourselves, we should totally mark it. But it's going to be easy to find because it's next to this rad town here, which I think I'll do in another part of this video or in another video. We won't go into the rad town yet. But this is a rad town. I guess I'll just show you what happens as you get near it. As a new player with no clothing on especially, you want to give these things a wide berth. You can hear the little Geiger counter noise in there, and you see that our health is now dropping, and there's a radiation poisoning indicator. Without any kind of healing items or protective clothing, basically that's a suicide run in there. So I'm going to go ahead and avoid that, because I would rather... The problem with going in there, some people will see like, oh, if you go on a suicide run, you may not die, and then you have cool stuff. But the thing is, if you don't have a base to bring the cool stuff back to,
Yeah.
you're still going to probably lose it to another player, so even if you survive the radiation. So when I'm naked like this and I have no base of operations, I just leave it alone. Now, again, I mentioned that we were running south, and it seems that we have indeed hit the desert biome. So now we have to look around for landmarks. Now there's a bridge I see here by the coast.
I'm on a bridge on the coast.
Oh, excellent. So Shadow and I might have found each other. And sometimes it's a little more difficult to find each other than this, but what I would do is we would find a landmark, and the landmarks are all connected by the road system as well, like the rad towns are. And that's where I would think I was going, is that rad towns are connected by the road system. So if we follow these roads, we'll eventually hit either a landmark or another rad town. Now, it doesn't appear that I might have spoken too soon. It doesn't seem like Shadow and I are on the same bridge.
Is your bridge going across the water or across the like down the coast?
It's going across the water. I mean, it's on the coast. It's on the coast.
Is there a lighthouse?
There is no other landmark here. There's another bridge across a river, which is interesting.
Still think.
And I guess I'm just basically going to follow this road, because you mentioned he was by a lighthouse, which is going to be on the coast, and they're usually connected by roads as well, and this road seems to go by the coast, so...
Yep, I'm just running down a road as well, running straight towards the sun about...
Okay, then it sounds like, see, he's running towards the sun, I'm running away from the sun, so it sounds like we are running towards each other. We may even be on the same road, so it might just be a couple of minutes before we find each other. I see a Death Star, also known as the circular tank, or the spheroid tank.
I have not found a Death Star yet.
Okay, they call it the Death Star because it's really easy to get yourself hung up on the ladders there, and people will shoot you off the ladder, or you'll glitch through the ladders and fall to your death. But people do build bases on there. They're able, if you have building materials, you can make your own stairs, basically. up the side of that, and then you can...
I ran into a split bridge. There's two bridges, one going one way, one going all the way across the bay to the next coast.
I wouldn't go across to the next coast because
Yeah,
I'm definitely on the mainland.
This one ran by. This one's going over a river. There's a lighthouse right here, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm near the spheroid tank, and again, this is connected to the road, the same thing as the Rad Town. Now, these are not radioactive. You can gallivant around here all you want. Okay, and there's lots of boulders. I'm trying to take note, too, as I run past all this terrain to find my friend where the resources are. It seems like resources are fairly abundant in this area, which means it might be a good base location. I see a deer over here underneath the sphere, so I'm going to go ahead and stab it with my new spear. And it only takes 2 stabs instead of 3. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and harvest him. And again, I always do the 360 thing, even when it's going to be quick. I throw out the bones. It didn't quite give us the cloth I needed because I used some cloth to make the spear.
We're just going across the river. Gonna follow this road and hope we... Yeah, I'm kind of running into a snow-capped area.
Okay, you may have been maybe in a different spot than I thought you were. And again, this is a randomly generated map. It looks like there's a wolf out here. No, that's another deer, and it's coming towards us. Well, let's just capitalize on this opportunity and scare it off into the woods. We'll never catch it now. Generally, you need to get at least one whack in on a deer or a, one whack on a deer or a horse before you can pursue it. Right now, he's going to be traveling too fast for me to catch up ever, so... I'm going to go ahead and jab this barrel open. And this has got us some explosives and a salvaged axe. Okay, so explosives are an important blueprint because they're a component to rockets and C4, which are your primary base breaching equipment. Now, I've gone and done something silly and lost the road I was following. It looks like it just led to this Death Star Death Sphere.
That could be.
And terminated.
How close are you to it's a very pointy snow-capped mountain.
Oh, I don't see any mountains on the horizon here. Let me get up above this terrain here. I'm in a little valley. And the video's already going about 17 minutes. We're going to try to find each other for a little while longer. And then I might cut the video so that it's not super long. I thought I saw somebody running out in the distance, but I was wrong. This is a public server we're on. It just happens to have a low pop count. So it's possible that we'll run into another player. The server we're on, too, is also freshly wiped, so any other players we run into will hopefully be nakeds as well, so...
I just got a bow and arrow as well.
Alright, awesome. That's why it's important to hit those barrels when you see them, because you can sometimes skip having to craft a bow and arrow and go right into crafting clothing. Clothing does provide you damage reduction. It does provide you warmth as well. Now, deserts in the game seem to function like deserts in real life, in which during the day it's really hot, but during night you'll get a little indicator that says, that says too cold, and you can start losing health. Another thing you want to avoid doing while we're talking about beginning concepts is that you saw me wade across a river there. Do not do that after the sun goes down, because like in real life, the water will get very cold. And that's true in any biome. Do not swim at night. Not cross rivers at night in any biome unless you have clothing on, and sometimes even if you do have clothing on, if it's a wide river. Otherwise you'll get wet and you'll start losing health, and I've died a couple of times that way when I was a real noob cakes. So just
I'm headed back down the way I came because my end was a dead end.
Alright. Now, it sounds like he was near a lighthouse, so I'm going to still kind of search near the coast, or at least keep the coast in my vision. There's a field of barrels here. I'm going to be distracted by them for a little bit. I found an apple. When I'm this noobed out, I go ahead and eat whatever I find right away as well. I'm going to grab these 2 barrels. And,
building plans.
Alright, excellent. Again, he saved himself some crafting. We just saved ourselves some crafting. We found some wooden arrows and stuff in a barrel. Now, sometimes noobs have trouble with the bow and arrow because like, how do I shoot? Well, you just hold down right trigger on your mouse until you chamber an arrow and it reloads automatically. Sometimes people will hit the R button thinking that's how you're going to get the arrow on there, but that's not. You got to hold down the right trigger. Oop. We hear evil, nasty things out in the distance. I have another paper map, and this time it's an actual map. Sandbag barricade blueprint, excellent. We're getting the basics of a base together in terms of blueprints. Now, in order to use the map, it's a handy in-game item in which, if you put it on your toolbar, it will start. It's kind of like Minecraft. It'll start. It has to be in your toolbar, but it'll start charting the terrain around you. And you can see ourselves right here. By right-clicking, I can bring up this interface, and I can pick a color that I like, maybe blue. Choose a type of writing style you want. It usually requires you to click on these before it will write. And it seems that I'm having trouble myself.
I couldn't get it to work yesterday. I don't know what's going on with it. I right-clicked till I could no longer right-click, and it just would not let me.
Okay, there we go. I had to close it and open it a couple of times, so it is still kind of glitched out. There was a well-known bug in the last build that had broken the maps, but they seem fixed now. So I can go ahead and... This is the erase tool, by the way. I can pick a writing style, and again, if it doesn't write the first time, just close the map and open it again. Oh yeah, and use the G key to open and close the map. You have to select it in your bar, and then hit the G key, and then it'll come up, right-click, and then you get all this lovely writing stuff. I'm going to go, I can just say circle my location, for example, and then use my terrible handwriting skills and a finer point to say, me. Now, the cool thing about this is that if I gave this to Shadow, he would be able to see all of the map that I revealed and also what I wrote on it. So there you go. So that's how you write on the map. Again, if it doesn't work right away, if it doesn't mark right away, just close it and open it back up again. You're going to use this tool to erase what we just did. Biggest writing point, and there. Okay. Set this.
So, since we're on such a low pop server, and I don't know if there's any people on, I'm running with my torch out. So.
Yeah, and generally, especially on a populated server, you don't want to run with your torch out.
It's
because
like asking for trouble.
Yep. Now, guys, I think I'm going to take a break in the video here, and Shadow and I are going to continue to do the process we were doing. We're going to exchange information about our surroundings. We're going to talk about landmarks we're passing, and we're going to try to find out if we can find each other. So we'll see you back here in a second. All right, guys, I'm back again. We still haven't found Shadow yet. I've run maybe a kilometer or so, but I just wanted to share on the screen here. As you can see, I get a too cold notification. Again, the desert, like in real life, gets really cold at night. If I wander too deeply into the desert, I might end up freezing to death. In fact, it's just gone. I just went up this hill a little ways, and I've got a -1 degree Celsius there. So you got to be careful if you're naked and at night, especially in the desert. And gosh help you if you're in the tundra. All right, we'll cut back hopefully when I've really found Shadow this time. Alright, I'm back again. It's only been a few moments. Shadow and I think we have found each other because he found the 2 bridges that I crossed earlier. But as you can see, I have not gotten any warmer. And I crafted some hide boots instead of the burlap shoes to try to get any kind of warmth that I can, but it just doesn't really work. So I have harvested 100 wood and crafted up a campfire. And while that's going, we're going to use that to warm up and also to cook some food here in a second. I thought my campfire was done a little further along than it was when I started recording again. As you can see, as I'm losing health, the borders of your screen start to turn red, so that's a very nice visual indicator without having to look at your HUD that you are losing a lot of health. And usually it's really more noticeable at night. I don't know why it's that way. Okay, so we put down the campfire. You select it. It has a little blue highlight. You left click to put it down. And now then you hold E to bring up this radial menu and say open. And now what I like to do is I right click some meat. I drag it over to the bar here. And there's a trick that you can do with all of these crafting stations. This works for the campfire and the furnace. You can cook 3 things at one time by putting them in different slots. Now that we're done there, I hit E again, and then I hit E to turn on the fire. And immediately our cold indicator goes away, and we can kind of sit here and wait for our 3 steaks to be done. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I'm back to 100% health. You can see here that it makes some charcoal. That is a valuable resource. It's a component to gunpowder, so I'm going to keep pulling that out of the fire. You can just sit here in your inventory and watch the fire, but you really shouldn't, especially at night. This is a beacon to other players, and you really should be looking around. I've killed more than my fair share of actually geared players trying to heal up in the woods like this. It's really nice as a naked with a bow and arrow that you see a doofus in like a coffee can helmet sitting out here on a campfire healing up from something. And again, I'm going to repeat that process by putting 3 stakes in the fire. I'm going to scarf them down right away. Now to eat things, you got to click on it in your inventory and then hit the eat button. Pretty basic functionality there.
I'm definitely in the desert. I'm taking 2 cold damage.
Okay, and yeah, Shadow's right where we were. Run to the Death Star, and I can find the Death Star pretty easy.
Trying, but I don't know if this is where you were.
All right, as you can see, sometimes when it runs out of slots, it'll just create a bag full of stuff there. So I'm going to keep eating because we did do some hunting earlier, and I'm going to keep eating until I have 100% health. At least then I can live a bit longer. No matter what happens. And again, I dismissed the inventory. I have my ranged weapon out, and I'm looking around to make sure there aren't any other players nearby. Again, this campfire acts like a beacon. I set this down in kind of a hurry because I was practically dead at 30% health. Probably a better spot would be in those rocks over there for the campfire because the rocks would have blocked some of the light. But I'm out here in the open. Alright, so I'm eating, and I'm gonna cook up my last 2 steaks here. I just happen to have 2 left, so let's go ahead and cook them up. Again, get my bow at the ready, kind of survey the surroundings. I see some barrels over there. I do know I need to get to the Death Star to meet up with Shadow. I also thought I saw an animal wandering around over there, so I might go over to that barrel first and maybe hunt another animal. Maybe get another article of clothing out of that. Some people, again, they kind of think about building first, and they might try to turn that cloth into low-grade fuel because it is a component of low-grade fuel. But again, I would recommend not doing that because unless you have a spot in mind for your base, it's kind of pointless crafting things you need for your base. Alright, I guess I'll cut back to you when, I see I'm already losing health because I'm naked. Usually, especially your first night, I would say clothing's a bigger priority than building something. And we'll cut back when I find Shadow, or something else notable happens. We found each other. Alright. Now, I did find, you're naked.
I am naked.
Seems like the world has not treated you as kindly as it has me. Here is a blueprint for a stone spear, my good man. Study it well.
Give me. Thank you.
Alright.
Okay, I'm gonna start my recording again.
Alright. So, we have found each other, we've exchanged blueprints. We just drag it out of your inventory, throw it on the ground. You've probably seen me do that to the bone trash. I mean, the bone shards. Alright, so now that we've found each other, let's do a little status update. I found some nice urban pants. Now, I took them off because when I put them on last night, I actually got a cold indicator. So, they weren't really as warm as the burlap pants, surprisingly. Didn't think that would be possible, but there you go. I also found a rocket and some anti-radiation pills. Now, this rocket here, you're probably thinking, Scourge, why are you carrying that around? Because you can't possibly use that right now. You don't have a launcher, and you don't know how to make more of them. Well, you can use things that you found and put them in something called a research table and get the recipes for them there. So, because this is such a rare item, the rocket, I'm going to go ahead and keep it and hold on to it as much as I can and hopefully avoid other players besides Shadow here. And try to research that there. So that's our status update. So what I think Shadow and I are going to do is we're going to go bow hunting for animals. And when you're looking for animals, there are places that you should look. And tree stands like this are excellent. Now, the desert is kind of a nice place to live because you'll be near stands of trees and boulders a lot. But the thing is the temperature fluctuates wildly, so it's a little bit harder to start there. I'm going to go ahead and study it. My opinion, that's a useless thing, but hey, maybe somebody will trade me for a guitar at some point. I'm going to go ahead and cross this river here. Which is kind of funny because if I had just gone just a few more steps over here, this is the origin of the river. Right here, this thing. And I didn't have to cross it. But, oh well. That's what the origins of rivers look like. Just in Rust. Now there's a boar, so we're going to go get him some clothing. Go ahead and slice and dice that boar up. I'm going to see if I can't find any more. I'm going to try to help the newbie noobs range their bows here. So to aim the bow and arrow, you actually use the tip of the arrow. And even at the smallest distances, you want to go a little bit above your target because the drop on this is pretty wicked. So I'm going to just try to stay just a few pixels above his body there, and it looks like he saw me and is running because I am a bad hunter. Oh, and Shadow got him down with one headshot.
He wasn't even in my screen. He like disappeared.
Nice.
I am a bow master.
You are. Okay, so I'm going to get like 2 things of cloth here, and then here, you can kill the rest of it, because we're going to share the cloth. I'm going to make my burlap head wrap. Now the reason why you want to totally clothe yourself in burlap and or hide stuff is because it does provide some damage resistance. So you want to get the head wrap on, and then the hide poncho is actually your lowest form of actual armor. It has a considerably more damage resistance than any kind of singular clothing item at this phase of the game. Now, of course, there is the actual body armor called the metal plate, but you have to find the blueprint for that. We're just kind of looking around this forested area. It looks like it's petering out. Some of these forested areas in the desert are really small. They might only have literally a couple animals in them, like this one did. Pretty sure that that was probably all there was. Let's go ahead and find this other stand of trees by the Death Sphere that we met by. On the other side of the Death Sphere, maybe some animals have spawned in there.
The amazing Death Sphere that I saw all the way across the map.
Yep.
Got so lucky. I mean, if I had not looked carefully enough, I would have just assumed it was just another boulder in the distance.
Yep. And that's why it's important to share landmarks with your friends, because with that boulder in the distance, you know, that was actually an important thing to finding each other. So I'm going to try to... I'm going to keep recording here until I get a kill with my bow so that I can try to give people a sense of range, since you just bold skilled that thing. You hit it right in the back of the skull. And you might have noticed on my screen it disappeared once he hit it. That's a level of detail bug. I don't know what that is, but the corpses have... Once something ragdolls and becomes a corpse, it has a lower distance to render than the actual living organism. So sometimes if you shoot something and it just disappears into nothingness, that's a glitch, but it's also an indicator that you've killed it. So
yeah,
keep
never
running.
Assume that it's actually gone.
Yeah.
Like, you go check it out.
Yep. So yeah, go where you shot that animal or that player, and you'll find their body.
Yeah, I lost a few animals thinking that they despawned.
No, they don't generally despawn in front of you. The only instance I can see of a despawning animal so far, guys, is sometimes they'll glitch into these rocks. You see these kind of rocks in front of me? Sometimes they'll just glitch in there, and then they'll stay in there, and then, of course, the animal's gone.
Oh, and you should also probably mention that they do that to houses as well.
Oh, yes. They'll actually go into houses. Last night we were on a server, and we got attacked by a wolf in our floor. That was fun. Shadow actually died because we couldn't figure out what to do. Now, luckily, this game has what we call polygonal targeting for projectiles, which means that if you can hit a polygon on the creature or the player, it counts as a hit. So when it glitched through the floor and I could see its head, I shot it in the head and it died underneath the floor. But that is something to look out for. I played Rust almost 100 hours, and I've never seen that before, so that was something new and fun. We see a horse on the horizon here. I'm going to try to range it. Again, you use the arrow to point, and then you go up a few pixels, even at this short distance, and got it. Excellent. Now we're going to keep doing that. It's moving target, so you got to try to offset that. I'm bad at moving targets. As you can see, those arrows didn't really have a hope of a chance. Shadow's getting really good. I saw his arrow fly through the air there.
It's gone.
Not quite. It does run slower. So like a real hunter, back in the olden days, what we do is you run after the animal. I happen to see your arrow here. I'm just going to grab it for myself because I'm a greedy son of a gun.
I made a couple.
Yeah, I made a couple while we weren't recording. Now the animal might be gone because it might have glitched into these rocks, but we're going to continue running in the direction. They tend.
This way. Oh no, that's a deer. Never mind.
Deer, let's do it. There, I see the horse. I'm going to go after it still. Now I like to get close with these bows.
One-shot deer.
Yeah, and they do have the animals do have some targeting as well. Like if you hit them in the head, they will go down in one shot. But the body is broader, and I tend to go for body shots. Got it in the ankle there. Hopefully it's moving really slow now. I can just... It's just moving erratically. There we go. I hit it in the butt. I gave it the what in the butt. Haha! I'm so clever. Alright, give me your secrets, horse. Okay. Since you found a deer, I'm gonna have this horse all to myself.
I just one-shot a horse.
Nice.
Ankle.
Alright. Well, that's basically how you use the bow. Let's see if I can one-shot this deer here. Use the arrow to point, and offset it up a few pixels, and... Nope, hit it on the body, but that's okay. It just needs one more arrow in it. We're going to go ahead and chase after it. Just like a real hunter. Alright, we'll find each other. You know where the Death Star is, right? You always know where each other is. Now I'm going to go ahead, there's a boar right there, but I'm going to go ahead and chase this deer. It is worth more cloth, the deer is, and I need...
Still in the tree area.
Yes, well, now that the deer's run out into the desert, and I'm following it into there. I'm running towards those mountains in the distance. Alright, come on, deer. There we go, and again, it disappeared. You saw it disappear, but it's not disappeared, it's right there. See, it ragdolled and disappeared. Level of distance issue. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get the last bit of stuff from this. And then we're going to craft our hide poncho, which is the, again, where is it? Hide poncho. It is the item that is our first actual body armor item. The burlap head wrap, by the way, does count as a helmet, and what is next on our agenda is making sure that Shadow gets kitted up, and then once he's at the same stage I am, we'll cut back and we'll start talking about how we can find a base location, and then how we prepare for that. So see you soon.
Hear you.